Hey Fit Pros, it's your host Tyler Valencia here. Before we get to this episode, I quickly want to share a free resource we have on the KIPS website and YouTube channel. If you're struggling with your online workouts or just want to see the items that we recommend, check out our virtual training resources page. You'll find breakdowns on streaming setups, reviews on microphones, and other free videos that can help you build your fitness business today. Did I mention they're free? Go check them out at the link in the description or head over to our website to find them under the blog tab. Welcome to the KIPS Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia and I'm the president of KIPS and Time to Train Fitness. We have a topic and a guest that I feel like is going to build a lot of value for our listeners. In my experience working with moms that are fitness instructors, I've had a lot of great success with my company, Time to Train. I have worked with some great instructors that it just works great. They're professional, that they are busy moms and they get it. They got to do what they got to do with their family and also do what they got to do with their courses, their online workouts. So it's great. We have Michelle Lasiter on the podcast. Thank you for being my guest.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm really excited about this topic just for the people that I work with Time to Train, and to really dive into this topic with lifestyle, being a fitness instructor, being a busy mom, and juggling all those items. So for the listeners, let's start it off with a brief description on your current business, what you're doing, where you're teaching, and your educational background.
Okay, so in all honesty, I never, ever thought I would be in fitness. Mm-hmm. I grew up, I'm going to say I grew up the chubby kid. That was that was me. I was never an athlete. I wasn't athletic. I was a military brat, but my dad, he was always gone. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, it was either my twin sister and I with my mom or my stepmom. And we played sports, but we were never super competitive until I got to my senior year and I made the varsity tennis team and we were able to make it to the CIF championships. So I just want you to know, even if you didn't grow up an athlete or really fit, or that idea of how you get into the fitness world, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So with that, I kind of grew up all over. Like I said, I was a military brat. So I spent the most of my time in San Diego. My dad was stationed at Miramar. He's a mm-hmm. Marine. Mm-hmm. And so I went to UCSD for my bachelor's degree. I thought I was going to cure cancer. Mm-hmm. That was my goal. Mm-hmm. So I was a bartender and a server. That got me through my bachelor's degree for biochemistry and cell biology. So that was what I started with. And then I graduated and I went on my first job interview, and it was with a lab in Solana Beach. And as an entry-level position with a science degree, what you'd be doing full-time every day, all day, you're in a white lab coat in a lab mixing up solutions and cleaning glassware, making sure the Bunsen burners work, mm-hmm. making sure everything in the lab is organized, and mm-hmm. making sure you're using the centrifuge a little bit. Boring. I went through that job interview, and when the person interviewing me said what my duties and responsibilities would be, it's like, ooh, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is for me. I want to cure cancer. I don't want mm-hmm. to be mixing solutions and stock. Mm-hmm. I want to call it potions, but we're not Harry Potter. But so I had discovered group fitness while I was attending UCSD. 24-hour fitness was offering a student discount. And so I took them up on their offer, and I started attending classes, and I discovered Turbo Kick. Mm-hmm. Love it. And a class called athletic training. And I fell in love. And I would go every week. That was part of my schedule, part of my routine. So after that interview, I thought I had the summer to think about it. And I decided to make a big change and switch directions, kind of. I mean, fitness is scientific as well. Mm-hmm. But I moved to Arizona and pursued my master's degree of exercise and wellness at ASU.
Nice.
So I've been here since 2008. I taught at ASU while I was completing my master's. I taught for the undergrad exercise and wellness program, the 100 and 200 level classes, and discovered I loved teaching there as well. So then that led into my master trainer role with Beachbody Live. I was a master trainer for PiYo and Turbo Kick. I loved being a mentor and teaching people how to do something that they really had a passion for and that made them happy.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of my master trainer career in 2007. That's when I graduated. I became a master trainer in 2014. So that happened. And then now I am a master trainer for Soul Fusion, a format created by Michelle Park, who is the former PiYo Live format expert. And I've been a group fitness instructor this entire time. I've been a group fitness instructor for 14 years and I love it. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much fun to just work out with a group of people and you all love what you're doing.
I feel you. That is a big benefit of group exercise. And, with this episode, and I think the next question to jump into is how the work and the experience of being an instructor changes. And I mean, a topic that we've talked about on this podcast before is how the fitness industry is not a 9 to 5. You're not clocking in at 9, leaving at 5. You are teaching at odd hours, different hours than different industries. And so I'm sure being a mom, having kids, that shifts that schedule. How did that change once you had kids and were trying to teach classes at the same time?
I'll tell you this, my whole schedule flipped. So I was teaching evening classes because I would attend my own college classes, and I would teach, and I had to grade papers and work. And then I taught at night. That was one of my part-time jobs. And then I would teach on the weekends. And when I had kids, my whole schedule changed. I mean, what mom with babies wants to teach an evening class? Like, number one, you're tired because you're not sleeping. Number two, because you're tired, you just don't have the energy to teach later in the day. And then number three, it just doesn't work with scheduling. Like, if your spouse or partner is working a full-time job and then that's when they're finally home, okay, but I'm married to a firefighter. I'm gone for 24 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I had infants, there was no good time, but the mornings and early afternoons were the best, the most ideal for me, because then I could at least find somebody to watch my baby for an hour and a half. So my schedule flipped. I was teaching evenings and I changed to a morning schedule. So I teach in the mornings, typically between 8:45 and 9:30 is when my classes start. And another thing to think about when you're a mom, school drop off.
Yeah.
So there's certain times that you can't teach because you got to get your kids to school. So I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they go to 2 different schools. So I have school drop off. So I can't teach anything before 8:30 or earlier. My earliest class starts at 8:45. So that's another thing to think about when you become a mom is anticipate your reduced availability. Anticipate your schedule flipping around completely. It turns on its head. And anticipate not being able to teach maybe as much as you want. Because not only is time a factor, it changes, but your body changes too. You have to be gentle with yourself. You need to give yourself grace because you just had a baby. And whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you have a C-section or not, that recovery is different. And, whether you as much as you're like, I miss it, I want to go back, I miss teaching, I need to be back in the classroom because that's what makes me happy. And that like helps me find me again, because it's so easy to lose yourself as a mom. That like helps you reconnect with yourself pre-baby. You have to just go slow and listen to your body. So instead of going back to teaching, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 classes a week, which I would never recommend unless you're more coaching them and not really doing them. Maybe you teach 1 class a week and then you add on from there. Maybe in 6 months you can start teaching 2 classes a week.
That's good advice.
That's the biggest kind of work-life balance shift, I would say, for those 2 things.
It's funny, and I have to throw it in there that, so with my company, Time to Train, I work with a handful of busy moms, have their kids, and I chuckled to myself when you mentioned the mommy drop-off line, because those are things that I don't know. I'll admit it, I don't have any kids, so I don't know those things. And over the years, I have gotten to know the terms with being a mom, with mommy drop-off line, pickup, all these different things. And so when a new instructor comes and we're talking about things like, oh, I got my kids, I got to do this, this, and this. I'm like, I know, don't worry. Like I've gone through these conversations already. Like I know, just doing what you're doing with communicating it, and it's all good. I know that you gotta drop the kids off, all that kind of stuff. Not a big deal. So I know these terms now, and I'm going to switch now to a question that it's a big one, and it might be something that probably a lot of fitness instructors in the same boat have probably gone through, is that hiring process and the availability. As we're talking about scheduling, we're talking about potentially looking at new opportunities to teach. What have been kind of some of those issues that maybe you faced with only having certain times when you can teach and looking out there at the landscape? Is it tough? Or are there certain situations, things that you've realized in the interview that maybe I shouldn't have said that, or maybe I should have phrased things a different way?
Okay, so part of my background, I was a director at the largest privately owned chain of fitness clubs here in Arizona. And then when I had a baby, I what's the R word? Not quit. I resigned. There it is. Mom brain. I resigned from that job, and I stepped down, and I just wanted to be a group fitness instructor. So I know this from both sides, because I used to do the interviews, I used to hire, I did all those things, and then I've been on the other side as well. So we're in a new and strange time right now. With the last couple of years, there's been a huge shortage with instructors. Like, we need instructors. Every single place needs group fitness instructors badly. And so we're very lucky right now that even if you have a super limited schedule, super limited availability, maybe you can only teach once a week, you will get hired. Like, no doubt you will get hired. But back then, before now, that would be an issue. So it's, as the person interviewing and doing the hiring, I always wanted to make sure, like, okay, so if you are being hired and we can get you into 1 class a week, is there an option for 2 classes a week? Because minimum, we're looking for 2 classes a week. Because then it gives you that consistency. It gets more eyeballs on you as the instructor. Like, you get to be around more members and teach more people and meet more people. And it's also worth it for us to have you teaching 2 times a week, and for you. So it benefits both sides. And then also, you have other times where you could sub once in a while. Are you willing to sub and not just teach your own classes? So those were the big things. If you couldn't teach weekends or evenings, not a big deal. If you couldn't teach the super early morning 5:15 a.m. classes, which I don't know who would want to, not me, not a big deal. We're mostly looking for blocks of time, right? Or at least that was my opinion, because I had that empathy. I worked with a lot of moms before becoming a mom, and I knew that going in. So with the hiring process, a modified schedule, I don't think it's a huge deal. For me, it wasn't. For the clubs that I've taught at, it wasn't. And I feel like when you do that interview and you let them know your availability and your formats, that with your audition, because likely the interview is followed up by an audition, I hope so, where you actually go in and live, you teach, you actually do that format that you want to teach at the club for the director or manager that you are interviewing with. Let your personality shine through. Let them see the value that you would bring to their club, to their gym, and show them why you are the one, why they need to hire you. And if you let that show and you shine bright and you're you, and you show your full personality and you're fun and you're selfless, like you're there to give back, and you show that, then that is where they'll be like, okay, I don't care what their availability looks like. They can teach at least this one class for now. I'm hiring them.
Yeah, that's really good advice there. I really like that, like from both ends. And while you were saying those things, what was kind of going through my head was when the last time that I taught in a gym, and I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And it was a situation where it's kind of different, where I had the more flexible schedule. I used to literally live on the other side of a freeway from the gym that I taught at. So even sometimes I'd walk there. I was that close. And I was that instructor that, we need a sub, call Tyler, or see if he's free. And I could just pop over because it was easy. And so I was that instructor that could be that, okay, I think I had 3 to 5 classes per week that they gave me, but they were always asking me because I had that open availability, and I could also help out when I needed to. And I could be that person. But I like what you mentioned. If you do have that limited availability, make sure you show your personality in the class. And if you are a good instructor and people flock to you, you're going to get hired regardless. I think that that's a good confidence builder for people to think about. Focus on all those things that you can control. How you appear in front of your audience, your programming. Those are things that you can control. And so that when you do have that opportunity to shine through, you do it and you can make it fit with your schedule. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I totally agree. We know the fitness world is small. Yeah. A reputation will precede the individual. Yeah. So a good reputation will take you far. And like you said, your professionalism, showing up early, not just on time. On time in the fitness world is at minimum 10 minutes early.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Show up early, show up looking professional, be prepared, be 100% prepared. And as moms, we know that we have very little time, and that time is very focused. So I know if you're a mom, you take this seriously. So that's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Let's continue that thought process there with the limited time, because when you're in person, you still try to build community in your classes. You may be staying late after to talk with members. You create that rapport with them. And I can tell you that I did that too. You finish your class, maybe you're spending an additional 15 minutes talking with somebody from your class. Maybe it's deep and personal that they want to share, because sometimes they just want to talk. They need somebody to listen to what they're going through. Do you have that same type of free time? I'm just speaking from, I don't know. I've not in that. I've never been in that boat. Do you have that type of free time to make those connections, build community that way?
Okay, so when my boys were babies, like less than a year old, no. I would say it was very hard. Mm-hmm. So I purposely made my schedule or taught classes where I knew, okay, I have 2 hours. So that allows me to get there 15 minutes early, where I can talk to members coming in, introduce myself to the new people, like set up, get the music going to create that vibe, get some fun going. And then, and it also allowed me to have 15 minutes after class, clean up, thank yous, last minute, like chats with people to catch up, things like that. And people who were friends as well. So I purposely only taught classes that would allow me that time within my availability. So I had to be very intentional about which classes I picked up.
That's good advice.
Yes. And that helped a lot. And when you, for moms, you know, if whether you are a mom now or you plan on becoming a mom, or whether you taught while you were pregnant, or, you know, maybe you plan on doing that when you become a mom, I want you to think about that when you are taking on classes, when you're creating your schedule, with what's offered to you, the opportunities that come your way. Be very intentional about what you're selecting, because, you know, if you want to keep that class long term, like you're teaching while you're pregnant, and then you also want to come back to it after your maternity leave, make sure it's a class that you can continue with the time and the time that you anticipate having. So that's just a tip from me to, for all the moms out there, like just anticipate that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Question along the same lines now with availability and teaching classes. How do you think and how do you feel like potentially online has shifted this, that online workouts for members across the country, around the globe, how do you think online has shifted that?
I mean, talk about convenience. Talk about flexibility. Like time to train, your instructors are coming in, they're filming when they're available, and then you can post it when you need to, like when your schedule dictates to post it. Yeah. But you have that flexibility of filming because it is in your space. You don't have to go anywhere, and it's just so much more convenient. So that was something I meant to bring up. So when you were talking about like difficulty with availability and getting hired, there's always the virtual option. Yeah. So don't ever discount the power that virtual fitness has. If you're like, well, nobody knows me and nobody, I don't know of anybody that would join my classes virtually. Just get started, start marketing it, start putting out little snippets of your online virtual classes, and they will come because people need it. They need that flexibility for their schedule.
Oh yeah. But I feel like that's exactly what online gave this demographic of fitness instructors, that time traveling to a gym, setting up. It's reduced that. Now you can put that time somewhere else. You can put that somewhere else in your life, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for your family. You have that freedom to even be more flexible, and I think it's a huge benefit. Of course, there's other barriers, other things you're gonna have to learn with setting up a variety of items, whether it's filming equipment, lights, microphones, or even promoting it. New skills, but it's freedom. That's why I feel like a big underlying theme of why people enter the fitness industry is that flexibility, that opportunity to teach when you can, that you can, if you have blocks in your schedule or you create blocks in your schedule, that can be when you go teach, you go do these things that you love, that you're passionate about. And online created that even more with, maybe it's not just a block here. Maybe I can add in another block because I'm saving that time with having to drive, set up that additional 30 minutes. I can do the promotional items as well. So really interesting thought process there to go down with online workouts, group exercise, and a piece that, that came to my mind with, you're talking about from the gym side. So the gym side of, I didn't know that about you, and I think it's a very interesting part for where we can take this next spot with group exercise, with instructors. And I want to go back to like now the interview process, potentially with getting hired. Do you feel like having more than one format under your belt helps you with getting a new class or getting hired on?
That's a good question. Pre the last couple of years, I would say 100%. Absolutely. you get, like, if you're only teaching one format, hey, what else are you interested in teaching? Would be the first question I would ask in an interview, because we want to see like how else you can be incorporated into the schedule. We want to get you a couple classes, like 2 minimum. So if you're, which also, this also matters, what clubs are you willing to teach at? So some clubs have multiple locations, some only have one, but are you willing to go teach at 2 of our 20 clubs? You know, in which clubs? So if you're only teaching one format, but you could teach that format at 2 different clubs, okay, cool. Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
But if you only want to teach at one club and your availability is super limited, one format, it makes it kind of tough. So I would say have one format that, you know, as an off topic, it's kind of related. There's always the one format that you first get certified in that is your first love. And it is why you got into group fitness. You took it, you fell in love with it. You were the front row person. You went every single week. Even as a mom, you made time for yourself to go do it. And that is what you want to teach. Nail that one format.
Yeah.
Nail it. Be so good at it. Be so confident in it. Focus on that format. If you're a mom and you've got limited time, focus on that one format and just being your best self with that format and presenting your just best 100% class with that format, and you'll get hired.
Yeah.
But always think, okay, what else can I offer that would complement this format that I enjoy, that people need? Because don't ever get certified in a format just because you think, well, I should do this because our club really needs help with this format. Because you will die a little inside every single time you have to prep for that format and teach that class. You will dread it. And coming from personal experience, you don't do it. It is not worth it. So have your one format nailed down and then think about a second format. Because if you do have more than one format that you teach and you teach well, that only helps you with getting hired on. So
something popped in my mind and it was a rarity. And I think I even put this on a post, because I think a few weeks back you had this post about culture. It was on Instagram, and I'm rarely a commenter on anything on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram. But it came to my mind because we're talking about group fitness culture, and I'd be very interested to hear from like both sides of it. Because I mean, if you've been in the industry for a while, you've taught classes, you've taught at different clubs, each one has its different culture. From the club's perspective, what is the instructor that you want to see? Like, how do you want them integrated into your club? Do you want them working out at the club? Like, I'm talking more from like my experience. Like, again, I'm not a mom. I don't have any kids, so I have that flexibility. Like, if you are a trainer and you're a group exercise instructor, you're spending more time at the gym, getting your face out there, interacting with the members. That's part of potentially your culture, because that's how you bring in more business from an easier way. What is the club's angle for an ideal Group X instructor? Okay, I'm glad you asked this. Because I know it's a little bit like of a tangent. However, a good group, an ideal, let's call it the ideal. Ideal. Most valuable person to hire is one that doesn't want to teach every single class. They just want to teach a few times a week so that they are open for subbing, but they also take other people's classes. It is not just about them. They are there as a team player. They are there to hype up their fellow instructors. Yes, they're there to support. I mean, that's the best instructor right there. They hype each other up. They take each other's classes. They teach their classes well, and they're well prepared for it. And they show up early and they spend that time with their members, and they're positive. They come into the club and they're smiling. It starts in the parking lot. It starts before the parking lot.
As if you're driving and there's somebody, that cuts you off, well, am I on the same street where I'm going to pull into my gym? I have to be really careful, because what if this person gets out of their car and it's somebody that's in my class? Mm-hmm. That's not good. So it starts even before you pull into your parking lot, but it's the person that is professional, punctual, positive. They keep their negativity out of the gym, out of the workplace. They show up and they're ready to rock and to have fun, and they're welcoming, and they create an inclusive environment. They don't foster the cliques in class. They introduce people to your regulars, right? So you have your regulars in class. You introduce those new people to your regulars and say, hey, this is, I'm going to use an example. This is Dory. She takes the class often. If you have any questions, hey, ask her. She always is willing and able to help out, and she's awesome. Love her. So create those new relationships to help build that community and inclusivity, to help the new people feel welcome, because when they come into a class and it's a brand new format for them, that's scary and it feels like a hot mess. And I'll say that at the end of class when I have new people in there, like, hey, I know this is your first time. I'll just say it in general too, because I know when there's new people on. Like, just know that your first time always feels like a hot mess. And next week it will feel less like a hot mess. So, yeah.
That's good insight. And the one piece that I'll throw in there, like with it starts in the parking lot, was that's how I mentioned before, how sometimes we used to walk to the gym. People would see me walking and they always bring it up. I feel like it sets the tone. And now that I'm walking to the gym because I live so close, but I used to live so close, but I'm walking because it's healthy to walk, but more saving gas. And they see everything. Members see everything. They notice. So if you are, rolling in unprofessional, shirt untucked, I'm talking from like a male perspective, shirt untucked, if the culture is shirts untucked, if you're not looking good, you don't have your appearance looking well, they notice everything. So be professional with those items because they see everything you do. If you're messing around on the gym floor, they'll see it. And so just keep that in mind walking in. I know that we're kind of going off a tangent there, but it's such a good point. I really like the one you mentioned though, with like taking other classes. I would have never thought about that. That's not something that has ever come across my mind. So it's a good one for people listening in, taking other classes. If you're making this and you want to be more part of the gym, you want to grow within the gym, I'm sure that those are things that if you are a manager, you're noticing those things, so that when something pops up for a potential opening, you're like, hey, this instructor here, she's a team player, he's a team player, they're doing all the things that we want them to do, a part of our culture. Let's see how they do as a manager role. So I'm sure that those are definitely there. One more question before we get to the takeaways here. With being a mom, with teaching classes, how is it with fitting in your own exercise, your own fitness plan? Is it potentially you're only getting your exercise during your classes, or is it a part of even more scheduling to get your exercise, your own programming in?
This is so important. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to take care of yourself. Moms, you need it. I call exercise my sweat therapy because it's not just physical for me, it's also mental. Because parents in general, moms and dads, you're stressed out. It is not easy being a parent. And as a mom, you're feeling stressed out. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe it was a bad morning because your kids had an attitude and you're trying to get them to school and you're rushing out the door. You're like, come on, let's go already, and you just need that stress relief. Like, it just feels so good to sweat and to work out and to move your body. I always say in my classes, thank you for being here. Your body thanks you because your body was made to move. We need it. Even if it's just walking outside. I mean, that's like the number one foundational form of exercise, walking. It has so many benefits.
Yeah.
So scheduling, super important. yes, I have to be really, really, here's the word again, intentional about scheduling in my workouts, because I teach twice a week. So and for me, those aren't my workouts. I'm not being paid to work out. I am being paid to help other people get their workout done and to get a functional, safe, successful workout in for them. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do I move with them? I sure do, but not 100% of the class.
Yeah.
Even for my pre-designed soul fusion class, I'm not doing 100% of the class with them. I show them, I move with them, and then I set my weights down. I keep cueing, and I walk around the room. I move around the room, and I make eye contact, and I give up praise, and I say names, and that's building those connections. And that's how, as a mom, if you're short on time before and after class, that's another way you can really make the most of your time as an instructor.
Nice.
But it's not my workout. So I do work out at home. Luckily, my boys are in school, so I have the afternoon free. On the weekends when they're not in school, or when they were babies and they weren't in school, I made sure that I worked out during nap time. The dishes could be piling up. There could be laundry that needs to be done. It doesn't matter. You need to take care of you first. You need to do something that will help lift you up, that will help to give you clarity, that will help to get you focused on what you're about to do. That'll just make you happy. Mm-hmm. Just moving your body, it just makes you happy. Even if you just dance for half an hour or walk for half an hour. Yeah. You just, I say it helps me to be nicer to not only my husband but to be more patient with my kids. It's just that self-care, that thing that you just need to give yourself. You give so much of yourself to your family and to others. As an instructor, you're giving so much of yourself. It takes so much out of you to teach those classes, unless you're an extrovert. If you are, that fuels your tank. Mm-hmm. If you're an extroverted introvert, like I am, it drains you, and you need that time by yourself, not talking to anybody, to just do your own thing. And so you got to fill your tank and give yourself that time. Yeah.
I think all great points with the introvert extrovert thing. I know exactly what you're talking about. After I would teach a class, I would literally just go home, just plop on the couch for at least 15, 20 minutes just to relax and just to not think about anything from all the yelling and cheering and all the stuff that you were going through before. I just needed that 15, 20 minutes just to get a little recharge there. So I know what you're saying there. With this episode, great stuff, really valuable stuff, I think. And I really learned a lot too, with not being a mom, not going through any of these experiences. So valuable information here as we get to the podcast takeaways. This one, great opportunity to always get information, advice from our guests on the episode about myths, about things that they've gone through, and everybody's different. Everybody's gone through different things. Michelle sharing her story earlier, how she started in the industry. So her advice is going to be different than every other guest that we've had on the podcast. So this is why I always enjoy this question. Michelle, what are 3 myths about the fitness industry?
Okay. There are so many, but 3 that are top of mind. And we've talked about this, and I posted about this before, but I'll get to that. Number 1, a majority of your group fitness instructors are not ripped. They don't have perfect bodies. They aren't, they don't have rockin' bodies. I don't know. That's the adjective that came to mind. But they don't have 6-pack abs. We're human. We're moms. We're maybe just not moms, and we're full-time. We have full-time jobs, and we're dog moms or cat moms. We're humans. We're all human, and we struggle with things as well. There's life, and we go through seasons, and our bodies change as well. Maybe it's postpartum. Maybe it's an injury. we all look different. It doesn't matter your body type. It doesn't matter your shape, your size. When you have that knowledge, you have that experience, you have that passion, and it is your purpose to help people with their health and fitness, you become a group fitness instructor. Number 2, you'll know this. Group fitness instructors make good money. Not. Group fitness instructors have been making the same amount per class for like the last 20, 30 years. Mm-hmm. So we don't do it for the money. We do it because we freaking love it.
Yep.
So number 3, and this one I'm really passionate about, and it has been an underlying focus on my social media. No pain, no gain is trash. Please stop saying it. Please stop posting it. Pain is your body's way of telling you that something is not right, that you need to immediately stop what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Now, I know some people think of that burning sensation as pain, but it's different. Let's establish a difference between the two and distinguish them. Pain is that like really immediately like sharp sensation, right? It's not good. You need to stop. Mm-hmm. A burn is different. What challenges you leads to progression. What challenges you helps to build you stronger, faster, more powerful. And so let's get rid of that no pain, no gain.
I agree.
There's also no quick fix and no spot training. Yes. So don't fall for those.
I agree 100%. And the one that I'll quickly just touch on before we sign off here is the last one. It's so true. And with, I'll say, one of my companies, Time to Train, I make these social media posts that are motivational. And it's funny when I go look for inspiration, just looking on Google, looking on images. I mean, it's such a common thread is the whole pain, no pain, no gain. And I laugh at that one. I really do, because 1, it's not true. But 2, I mean, you think about these people that think, oh, no pain, no gain. How is that working for you? And I don't want to call these people out, but it's like, how is the no pain, no gain working for you? Are your knees doing well? Is your back doing well? Are you really keeping up with consistent workouts? I train myself very hard, but I don't ever think, oh, if I'm not in pain at the end, I'm not working hard enough. It's not practical. And recovery and relaxation, getting your body ready for the next session is just as important than thinking that you got to be in pain. I just can't stand that one. So such a good one to talk about and put out there into the universe for people to remember. And so good stuff in this episode. Michelle, before we sign off on here, can you give guests information about yourself, social media, website, any of that kind of stuff?
Yes. So I am on Instagram mostly. Michelle M. Lasiter. It's MICHELLEM. My middle name is May. So it's M. Lasiter, LASITER. That's on Instagram. I'm a Soul Fusion master trainer. So that is the choreographyclub.com. And then I'm also at Mountainside, so you can find me there.
And just for listeners, Mountainside is an Arizona-based gym. So if you live in the Arizona area, Phoenix area, you can always see Michelle at those clubs. Good stuff. Great episode. Like I said, I learned a lot about this. Thank you for coming on the KIPS Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.